Hi besties, this is So with Somi. Welcome back to the channel. Now on today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this trendy monostrap gather dress. And looking at the dress, you see the hemline has an asymmetric hemline. So I'll be showing you a step by step on how to cut and sew up this piece. So if you want to know how I achieve this, do not skip any part of this video. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel and on your post notification button so you'll be notified every single time I post a new video on the channel. Now let's head to the video. So for this tutorial, I used 5 years of Ankara fabric. I have my scissors, my tape. Now let's head straight into drawing. So here is the pattern paper. I will mark out a line. So this will be serving us as our starting line. Now we're going to be taking all of our measurements from that starting line. So I'll place my tape and I'll take my chest line measurements. After marking that, I'll mark my waistline. After chest line, waistline and the hip point. Now I'm going to rule all the lines into a straight line. So this pattern is unfold. You see it's unfold. So after that, I'm going to label. So this is the hip line, this is the waistline, and this is the chest line. So for the asymmetric hem on the full length of the dress, so I'll be coming down by 5 inches on the hip line. So if you don't want it to be as long as mine, you can make your hip line, instead of marking 24 inches for the hip point, you can reduce it to 23 or 22 before marking this one. I hope you understand. So this will be serving as the skirt length. Now I'll come to the shoulder. I will divide my round shoulder by 2, which is 15. I'll mark that on the shoulder line. I'll do the same thing on the chest line, the same shoulder measurements. Then I'm going to connect them into a straight line. So for the neck width, I use the neck width of 3 inches and 1 inch for the depth, though it is not necessary. This thing I'm marking here is not necessary, but I just want to carry everybody along, so you know that we are just drafting out the basic bodice. After that, I'll come to the armhole side. I'll come down 1 inch for the shoulder slope. I'll connect from the neck width to that 1 inch using my free hand. So I'll measure what I have on the armhole. But before that, I'll take my round bust measurements. I'll mark. Then I'll measure what I have on the armhole. I'll get the middle of that. Then on that center line, I'll come in by half an inch. Now I'm going to connect these 3 points to cover our armhole. Now after that, I'm just going to add 1.5 inch for stitching allowance. So I'll come to the waistline. I'll divide my round waist by 4. I'll mark. Then I'll add 1.5 inch for stitching allowance. So I'll connect from the chest line to the waistline this way. Now coming to the hip line, I'm going to divide my round hip by 4. I'll add 1.5 inch to that for stitching allowance, plus extra half inch, so it's a bit free on the hip area. So I'll connect that measurement from the waistline to the hip line this way. So notice I added extra half inch to the hip line before adding my stitching allowance of 1.5 inch, right? So my hip is 10. I added half inch, making it 10.5 before adding the stitching allowance of 1.5 inches. So I'll measure what I have on that hip line there. So I had about 12.5. Then I added extra half an inch to that measurement, making it 13. So it's like it has a little a shape. That's why I added extra half an inch to the hem, and I'll connect from the hip to the full length. I hope this is understandable. So, and that is all for the drafting of this basic bodice, right? So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tracing wheel. I'll trace from the waistline to the side of the upper part. Then I'll trace the chest line, trace the neckline. I'm literally going to trace out the upper part so that I can mark it on the other side. So if you don't have a tracing wheel, that means you need to use your hand to draft this body measurement on the other side of the pattern paper. But I have a tracing wheel, so that's why I am making use of it. So after tracing it out, I'll just cut out the excess we have on the full length because it's not needed. You see, then cut out the side. Now I'll separate the lower part and the upper part from the waistline. So I'll cut out the excess I have on the skirt part and I'll keep that aside. Now coming to the upper part. So if you watch how I am doing it, so I just cut in this way and cut out the excess. I left some allowance on that armhole area. You will understand when we start, drafting. So after cutting, I'll trace it out. So this is the pattern. I've opened it. So I've used my marker to highlight the places I use the tracing wheel to mark. That is the essence of tracing wheel. It makes everything easy. Now this is the right side and this is the left side. So for the monostrap, on the center line, I'll come down by 3 inches because I don't want it to be too open. So I came down 3 inches on this center line. Now on the side of the armhole here, where I want the monostrap to fall, I came down by 4 inches on the armhole. Now I'll connect from this other shoulder line to that 3 inches. And I'm going to use my hand to connect from that 3 inches on the center line to the 4 inches on the armhole. Now this is it. So I hope you guys understand what I did. Now so from that 4 inches I came down on the armhole, I'll mark 3.5 inches after that, right? So now I'm going to extend this 4 inches line where the monostrap stopped on the armhole. I'll extend it to the pattern. That's why I did not cut this part off. Then I'll come down to the 3.5 inches I came below and extend it to. So from this box to this other box is 3.5 inches. Now it's 3.5 inches. That is what I have there. That is why I extended it. I hope this is clear. So that is all. Now next thing we're going to do, I'm just going to cut from the armhole. Just watch the places I'm cutting. So I'll cut out that piece, that excess I have on the side there. Now so after that, we are going to cut out from the shoulder slope to this point. So I'm just taking it one step at a time so you guys understand. So just watch the places I'm cutting. Now I'll come to the monostrap side and I'll cut from the shoulder to that monostrap side, and that's it. So coming to this other side, I'll just trace out the excess we have on the armhole. I will cut the shoulder slope. So after doing that, this is what we have. So I'm just going to keep this aside so that we work on the lower. So working on the skirt pattern, I'll be marking my nipple to nipple measurement at the upper part, and I'll do the same at the lower part. Now I'll roll that into a straight line. From the center of the pattern paper, I'll measure what I have to the dart area, and I have 4 inches. Now after the dart area, I'll mark the same 4 inches on this other part of the paper. Now on the center line of the skirt, I'll come out by 1 inch, and on the hip area, I'll come down 1 inch below the hip area. So I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect from the 1 inch after the center of the skirt to the 1 inch below the hip area this way. Now I'm going to connect from this 1 inch below the hip area to this other 4 inches we marked on this side. Sorry, 4.5 inches I marked on this side using the curve ruler. So this is like a semicircle. So I'm going to use my hand and connect it this way. So this is what we have. Now coming to this line, I'll come out from this line by 1 inch. And at the side, I'll come down 1 inch below the hip line, and I will connect from that 1 inch to the 1 inch below the hip line. So if you don't want yours to come down lower than mine, you can reduce your hip line so it doesn't look like a bit lower. Sorry. So this is all we have, so we are just going to cut out the excess we have. So guys, if you have watched up to this point and you've not liked this video, what are you waiting for? Please hit that like button, do not forget to subscribe, and thank you guys so much. I'm sorry that I've not been active for a while now. It will not happen again. So if I open it up, this is what the pattern paper looks like. So this is what the lower part looks like. So we're just going to keep this aside to cut out on our fabric. Here I've placed my pattern paper on my fabric and I used my power bank to hold it down. Now if you notice, I am cutting this thing out single. My fabric is not folded into two and the pattern paper is not folded into two, right? So when you come to this monostrap area, you're going to be adding half an inch to the side of this monostrap area because we're going to be turning it with a lining, right? Then you come to this neckline area, you add half an inch because we're going to be turning that with a lining. So just watch the places I am cutting. So after we're done doing that, we are going to cut out the excess we have on the side area. Then the rest excess we have on the hem. So this is what we have. I'll keep it aside. Let's work at the back. Now for the back, I folded this pattern into two. You see, I folded it into two back. So I'm going to do zipper adjustment. So on the waist area, I came in by half an inch and I'll connect it straight back in this way. So we're doing zipper adjustment, right? Now I'll come up from the hem by 1 inch and I'll connect it back to the hemline this way. This will help my zip sit properly. So I'm just going to cut out the excess we have there, then on the side there, then open up the pattern paper. So after cutting out, this is what we are going to have. So I will go use this to cut out on my fabric. So here, this is the back piece. Now see this place where the marker is like the right side. So if you're cutting it on your fabric, please, you're going to flip it the other way. So turn it this way to the part that doesn't have the marker, right? So this is how you're going to cut it out. Then after that, you're going to pin it down and do not forget to add your zipper allowance at the side. So add your zipper allowance at the side. Then after adding your zipper allowance, this side I'm cutting now, you see I did not add my zipper allowance. That's why I showed you this part. I did not add my zipper allowance to the side, so I had to recut it again. So please don't make that mistake. Add your zipper allowance before you cut out your pattern paper. So here I've cut out all the pieces. Now this is the part of the back that has the shoulder line. I added 1 inch for my zipper allowance. So like I explained the area earlier, this part that has the marker is like the right side, so I flipped it over so that it's going to match up with the front piece. I hope you understand. Now for every piece I've cut out, I've equally cut out a facing for it. Now this is the part that has the monostrap. I've added 1 inch for my zipper allowance as well. So I'm just going to take off the pins and I'll push out this fabric so that we'll have a clear table to work on. So like I said, for every piece I've cut out here, I've cut out a facing. So for the black crepe fabric, I used 1.5 yard, so I didn't use a full lining. I just cut out a facing. So this is for the part of the back that has the shoulder. I'll just place the facing on it this way. You see, on the fabric I've labeled the wrong side. I'll go stitch the neckline and the zipper area. I'll do the same thing for the armhole area. Now for the monostrap side as well, so I have the wrong side and the right side, so I cut out a facing for it too. You see it. Now if we are going to stitch, we are going to stitch the armhole area, close the monostrap area and the armhole and the zipper side. So stitch it down. So I'll go sew that up and I'll bring it back to show you what I have. After sewing the front, this is how it looks. See how neat it looks. Then if I turn it to the wrong side, this is how the wrong side looks. See? So I'm going to get the lower part of the skirt of the front. So I did not line the skirt because I don't have enough fabric. So this is for the skirt. I've cut it out. So I'll be joining the upper part of the front to the lower part of the skirt this way. So I'll place them right side facing each other like this, and I'll go stitch it down using half an inch. So I'll do that and I'll bring it back to show you. But before then, this is for the back piece. I added 1 inch allowance, zip allowance to the back. You see it. So I'll just take out the paint. So if I open it up, we are going to have two pieces like this. Like I said, I did not line the skirt part because I don't have enough fabrics. But if you're making this for a client, please use full lining so it will look very neat. Now I'm going to get the two pieces for the upper part. So I'll place the one with the shoulder on its skirt like this, and I'll go stitch with half an inch. I'll place the monostrap on it as well, and place it right side facing each other. I'll go stitch. So I'll do that and bring it back to show what I have. And after stitching, this is what the front piece looks. I've actually ironed it down, and this is what the back piece. I've joined it and I've ironed out the zipper allowance. So on the shoulder area, I made a mistake. Before joining, I was supposed to sew the shoulder in, but since I didn't do that, I'll just stitch the shoulders with half an inch, then I'll weave it. Then after doing that, after stitching the shoulders, then I will take my body measurement, and I'm going to take the body measurement of this dress on both sides. So I'm just going to take my body measurement and stitch it down. So I'll do that and I'll bring it back to show you what I have. After stitching it down, this is what it looks like. Now you're going to take your dress, your top length. Now from the shoulder to the highest point here, I have about 25 inches. So that 25 inches, you add it to the full length you want your dress to be. So for mine, I've cut out how long I want my dress to be. Then for the wideness of the fabric I'm using, I used 5 yards for the fabric. Now I'm just going to open this up. We are going to be pleating this 5 yards to the lower parts. So you start from the zipper allowance area, then you follow the shape and you pleat it all around. So you can pleat or you can gather and sew it on top. But for me, I'll be pleating it all around. So I'll go do all of that and I'll bring it back to show you what I have. And guys, after plating, this is how beautiful this thing came out looking. Like, I love it so much. It looks so nice. Then if I turn to the wrong side, I've equally added my zip to the wrong side. So do you see how the back is sitting so nice, guys? Like, this camera is not even showing how beautiful this dress is, and this is what the back looks like. So thank you guys so much for watching up to this point. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on my next video. Bye.